research and discovery. Futurists.
This was once a prosperous village. Now it is an open-air graveyard and a place of bitter memories.
I lived in this house with my wife and our 3 daughters. That night I was on the outskirts of the village. When I realized what was happening, I ran here. The electricity was down, people were running everywhere. We got lost. I arrived alone at the shelter. I lost my wife and 2 daughters.
Armero village in central Colombia was literally wiped out in one of the deadliest volcanic eruptions in modern history. The Nevado del Ruiz volcano erupted on November the 13th, 1985. The eruption melted 8% of the glacier on the top of the volcano. A giant mudslide flooded the village. Around 23,000 people died.
This was the main entrance to the hospital building. As you see, we're now on what was the 2nd floor. It was just down there that emergencies came in. The 1st floor was completely submerged in mud.
Then a young volcanologist, Ricardo Mendez, rushed to the scene with his colleagues to find out what had happened.
I first came here 1 month after the disaster. It was total chaos, a huge marsh. People were still trying to find their loved ones. We came here to understand what had happened, the geological and hydraulic processes behind this tragedy. But what we found here was utter despair.
25 years later, the Nevado del Ruiz volcano is still active, although relatively quiet. Its different craters are actively monitored by volcanologists. Seismic activity, electromagnetism, or geological deformation are patterns used to predict eruptions. But these volcanologists are looking for something else. They're sniffing out volcanic gas.
It's essential to know composition, concentration, content and flux of volcanic gases. Without those gases, there would not be volcanic eruptions. The gases create these eruptions. There are different volcanic gases, but there is one especially important one, sulfur dioxide. This gas is highly soluble when exposed to magma. So when magma comes to the surface, the gas is transported up. By measuring how much sulfur dioxide a volcano is emitting, we can calculate how much magma is coming up to the surface, and we can somehow predict how imminent an eruption is.
Volcanologists face a painstaking climb to the volcano's crater to manually monitor sulfur dioxide. But it's not always possible.
We're at an altitude of 5,200 meters, not far away from the crater. But we can't carry on, it's too dangerous. Visibility is low, snow is unstable, conditions are difficult.
So how can you measure sulfur dioxide safely? On the volcano's slopes, these scientists say they have the answer. They're working on a European Union research project aimed at providing real-time monitoring of sulfur dioxide in risky, almost inaccessible volcanoes. Swedish physicist Bo Galler is the coordinator of the project. His team in Gothenburg has developed this prototype to measure the gas from a safe distance.
What we have done is taken advantage of the last 30 years of development in computing, in optical spectroscopy, in camera technology. The volcano is over here, and when the gas go here, what we have is inside this unit there is a telescope which is looking on the mirror, and the mirror can rotate, so we are looking in, the instrument can look in different direction and scan through the plume. And then the cables go down, and inside the box is the electronics and the radios and things to transmit the data. It's very challenging to build these kind of instruments because it's cold, big temperature fluctuations, it's storms, there are a lot of ash coming from the volcano, it's very acid rain, and there is no infrastructure, so it has to be very robust because it's a big effort to just go out here and fix, even if it's a very small problem.
The system works under all atmospheric conditions, but the quality of data will change. For instance, with this strong fog, the equipment works properly, but it's really difficult for it to measure sulfur dioxide emissions accurately.
Two other volcanoes in Colombia and more than 20 active dangerous volcanoes around the world now have similar gas monitoring stations. The network has already helped to accurately predict recent dangerous volcanic eruptions in Colombia.
Normal sulfur dioxide emissions are 1,000 to 3,000 tons a day in the Galeras volcano. When magma comes up, these emissions can skyrocket up to 15,000 tons. Then there is an obstruction. Magma builds up, it blocks all the holes. Gas emissions are cut drastically. It is at that moment, where no more sulfur dioxide is coming into the atmosphere, that a violent eruption may be imminent.
It's from this observatory that Nevado del Ruiz's sulfur dioxide emissions can now be easily monitored.
Through the different measurements, you can see that
measurements from the volcano's slopes are updated every 5 minutes. Volcanologists use the data for risk assessment.
in the early morning. This is the last scan that has been done at the volcano. You can see the red columns here is the amount of gas that shows that the average emission from the volcano is about 250 tons per day.
For years, we volcanologists have used different methods to assess the risks in volcanoes. Most of these methods were very risky. A few years ago, several volcanologists died in the Galeras volcano in southern Colombia while they were measuring volcanic gases inside its crater. New methods like this one prevent us from entering high-risk zones. It also provides a continuous stream of data in real time, which is crucial for predicting natural hazards linked to volcanic eruptions.
The data is also crucial for saving human lives.
Now, scientists are doing a brilliant job monitoring dangerous volcanoes. If at the time of the tragedy we had had just a mobile phone, we would all have been saved. But we had nothing, no technology at all. We were blind, completely blind until the very last moment. Now, new technology is helping protect people.